You're listening to episode 229 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with David Wood. Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hant, and I want to welcome you to Lifestyle Locker Radio. It is here where we talk all things lifestyle, from fitness to nutrition, peak performance to longevity, awesome relationships to inspirational stories. We take you on an amazing journey to all things life and lifestyle. Enjoy the ride. And for today's guest, if you want to learn more than they're going to tell you on this show, I urge you to scroll down, check out the show notes to get a detailed bio and everything you need to know about our guest today. We also encourage that you comment, review, and share this show if you are enjoying it from wherever and whenever you're listening. Lastly, we encourage you to check out all the links that we provide in the show notes. They are there for you, for your health, for your lifestyle. We ultimately want you to unleash your human potential. So dive into this episode. We'll see you on the inside. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lifestyle Locker Radio. We have a return guest with an awesome new message. David, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks Josh. Good to see you again, mate.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love that we get to, hang out like friends pre-recording here and talk about what we're learning, as far as tech, because this whole world is evolving so fast. That's not what we're really going to talk about today, but I love being able to have these types of conversations and be able to talk to people that are real. And that's why I love having you and agreed to ultimately have you back, because I really enjoyed our first conversation so much. So can you bring our audience back? I know we're going to have them go back to episode 176. If you want to hear his whole story, episode 176 of Lifestyle Locker Radio, but he's going to talk briefly about what we were doing before and what he's evolved to, right? An evolution of this man and his message. So David, bring us there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the evolution, depends how far we go back, but so the recap of the last story is I was a consulting actuary to big companies on Park Avenue. That at the age of 23, 24, 25, 26, that's what I did. And then I quit that to eventually take up coaching. I got really interested in people's lives being awesome. That was fun for me. So I went into coaching, and for years I worked with coaches, because all the coaches are like, how are you doing this? How are you number one on Google for life coaching? How are you coaching around the world? And so that was easy for me. It was almost like a temptation to go down that path. So I did that. And then about 3 years ago, I reinvented myself. I'm like, all right, I'm done with that. What do I really want to help people with? So Play for Real, that brand emerged because I think life is a game. It's just a game with very high stakes. Are we playing the best game we can? And so I really enjoyed creating that brand. And then I decided to focus in a bit more, because if you're going to, any marketer will tell you, you really want to focus as narrowly as you can. So I'm like, what would I pick? What's a lane I could pick that I love within Play for Real? And so I went into tough conversations. Tough conversations are critical to leadership, to connection, to influence, to having an amazing life, to self-expression. So I had a really good year just doing that. And I created the Tough Conversations podcast with David Wood. And then what happened is I realized, while I enjoy that and I love it, and it's like almost like my life's work, it's kind of hard to sell that, because it's a process. It's not an end benefit, and people don't generally buy processes. And also a lot of people are like, I don't want to have tough conversations. Now, the people with high spiritual intelligence are like, no, teach me how to do it. Other people would be like, that sounds pretty scary to me. Let's, give me, what else you got? So I looked at a lot of my clients and asked myself, what are they coming to me for? And most of them were business owners, and they were feeling pretty scattered. They had lots of options they could pursue and they were trying to pursue, but they were scattered and not being really effective with their time. And so the new brand is Focus.CEO, and I help entrepreneurs who are earning over $200,000 a year already to double revenue over the next 12 months and double their time off, because more money is great, but it's not that great if you're leading to burnout. So we need to leverage you so you're not the bottleneck, and double your time off. And then once we've done that, let's get to the really good stuff, which is you being an extraordinary entrepreneur and human, because that's what really juices me.
Yeah, I think I love hearing that word bottleneck. Not because I think it's a good thing, but I that's such an amazing term. You know, I've worked with people in the chiropractic profession, and it's all about removing them. You know, it's the things that hold your capacity for growth, whether, you know, it's business or whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual health. All these things, these bottlenecks will lock us down. It's like hitting that ceiling with your head, and it's like, all right, we're not going anywhere. Why are we not going anywhere? And we got to realize that there is something in the way. So let's jump into this, because when I got some info on the new you, if you will, that we're talking about now, there was something, the shiny object syndrome. And I have so fallen for this in my life, probably many times, you know, in my profession, in my personal life, jumping around looking for the next best thing that might be able to help me. And it just spreads me thin. And then I don't know which direction to go in. So can you talk about the shiny object syndrome for people that don't know what it is, and give us some examples that, you know, that you're seeing with the people you're working with?
Yeah, well, I think the name came from the idea of a kid playing with toys will keep on moving from one to the other and go for the next shiny object. Like, oh, this train looks good. Oh, this doll looks good. Hey, I can build this over here. Oh, look at this. And that's fun for entertainment. That's good for entertainment. And the problem is a lot of us are doing that in our lives and our businesses without realizing it. So I had one client, Bradley Long, came to me, and I had permission. Any names I give, I've got permission to share. He came to me and he was successful in his business. He was just feeling quite scattered. And he's like, I'm not focusing on any one thing for any solid duration of time. And what that meant was, one, his business wasn't growing as fast as it could, which was a problem for him and his wife. And secondly, he was feeling scattered and frustrated at the end of the day, because he got to work on a whole bunch of different things, but he wasn't growing the revenue and he wasn't growing his time off, which again was frustrating for him and his family, his wife and his 4 kids. So what we did with him is, yeah, well, and a 5th on the way.
Wow.
So what we did with him is we started to focus. We're like, let's look at what really matters to you. What do you want in the business 12 months from now? How's it going to look? So we start to paint a picture. That's the first step. And then we started working out what he was not to do. What are the things that draw you and are tempting, but at time sucks? And so we created a not to do list. If you just do that, listeners, you just create, look, we're going into the new year. You just create your vision of what the new year looks like, and then have a list of what you're not going to spend your time on. That's going to put you ahead of 95% of the population.
I like that. The not to do list.
Oh, critical.
Yeah.
And so what happened to him is he moved his whole family from the UK to Costa Rica. They had their 5th child. He cut his hours in half.
Wow.
And then started breaking sales records in his company, month after month, cracking $100,000, which he'd never done before. So you actually can, if you're going to be rigorous in your not to-do list and you're going to focus on what really matters, you can actually work less and achieve more. It sounds like a sales pitch, and it is, but that doesn't mean it's not true and that it's not actually available to you.
Yeah. So let's dive into that concept, because this is important. You know, he halved his time, made more money, had more time with family, which is obviously probably one of his big core values, you know, to have that time available. 5 kids. I mean, how could you not, you know, how could that not be? Obviously there's got to be some kind of value there.
Yep.
Right?
And he started teaching ninjutsu to the local kids in Costa Rica. That was something he was now able to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that added to his life, but I'm just imagining it and I'm feeling good and I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Just the idea of him contributing to the local town.
Yeah. And it's probably playtime for him as well. Like he's having fun.
Yep.
I think that's a big piece of people's lives that they just totally miss out, right? Like in the business world, especially with entrepreneurs, we can put our head down and just go, go, go. And we miss fun, but we're so concerned on chasing the next buck or the next shiny object, which may create the next buck, that we miss like happiness, fun.
Wow. I love that you said that. So I feel like that's sinking in to me hearing that. And it's so true. See, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to hustle. All right, that's pretty much how it goes. It's a hustle. You got to keep on working out what your audience wants, and then deliver it better and better, and then keep building. It's a bit of a hustle, and it is easy for the mind to be hyper focused on that. And look, maybe at certain points in your business, that's what you just need to do. Suck it up, really crank it out. What I don't want for you, listeners, is that you are working inefficiently, that you're like really hyper focused on the business or your job, and you're wasting time being distracted by a whole bunch of different things. Why not use your time super effectively so that you're at least getting to where you want to go twice as fast? And then maybe you can free up some time so that you can keep your eye on the prize, which is actually living. Maybe you can go and have that tennis game. Maybe you could go and even in the pandemic, learn a dance. Or yesterday I decided I'm going to replace computer gaming, which I love to do, but I'm going to replace it with learning a programming language so I can create my own app if I want to. The sky's the limit once you start creating your vision and getting actually focused on what matters to you. And as we said, clear about your not to-do list. This is the stuff I will not do this year. That'll be a useful list. And then this is the stuff I will not work on today.
Yeah. So the not to-do list, just to go on that for a second, would you say the not to-do list is a huge piece, or all of the piece of that bottleneck that we were talking about, an invisible ceiling?
Well, you're usually the bottleneck in your business when you're the one who's the business relies on for everything. So I was the bottleneck 3 months ago when it came to getting booked on podcasts like yours, because it was just me and I didn't have time to do it. So then I went and hired 2 different people and trained them up, and it was a pain in the butt to do it. But now that it's done, I just looked at my email this morning, and one of my guys has just sent out 20 different pitches. I'm like, like I'm exhaling, going, I love that is happening without me. So that's what I mean by removing yourself as the bottleneck. You want to, this is a really great exercise for, if you have a job or a business, this is great. Do a 4D audit. And I'm just writing down the time reference here because I'm probably going to want this clip. 4D audit, you list everything that you do. So in a given week, here are all the tasks, and you can probably fit it on one page, the different tasks that you do in your business or your job. And then take a look at, should I be doing all of those things? And here's where the 4Ds come in. So 1D is for delegate. And you might go, all right, I'm going to delegate, say, half of the stuff on this list, maybe not today, but over the next 3 months or year, I am going to move that off my plate. And then the next D is delete. Are there things here that actually don't really add value to your business? Maybe you'd like to do them, but you don't really have time. So let's just delete those. And the third D is for delay. I want to do this. I'm not willing to delete it, but it doesn't make sense for me to do. I'm just going to stress myself out if I try and do it in the next 3 months or 6 months. So I will delay that, and you can put it in your calendar to revisit it down the track. I'm feeling some relief in my body just saying that, because I can imagine now, instead of my mind thinking I have to deal with it, no, it's off. For example, for me, alliance marketing through partners and having this cross-promote each other on emails. I want to do that. I really want to do that, but it's a deal I made with myself. I can't do that while I'm also focusing on being on podcasts. It's just too stressful. So I think we covered, oh, and the fourth D
Yeah.
is do. I will keep this. These are the things I will actually do. Now, I'm really a real fan of the Scrum Board. If anyone's watching the video, I'm showing 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that last column is really 1 column. And so on the left-hand side, that's all the stuff I want to do. There's a bunch I want to get to, and I will do it, but I'm not putting it in this week's column. So the next column is what I'm actually taking on for the next 7 days. And that's not too overwhelming. I've got like 7, 8 things. And the next column is what I'm doing right now. And only 1 thing's allowed to go in that column. So it's such a, and then the last column is wins. That's what I've actually handled. And it's so satisfying to move these things around and put the Post-it notes up here and go, all right, this is the 1 thing I'm doing now. Hey, it's done. Over onto the win column. It's a really simple way of not overwhelming ourselves and focusing on what matters.
That was for those that didn't get to see it. Those are Post-it notes, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't like a fancy downloaded application for your computer, your phone. Like this could be something if you're working from home, like many people are. Post-it notes, as simple as that.
Exactly. And this is basically like Trello. If you use the app Trello,
yes,
I love Trello.
I was going to say that.
So for my staff that work in another location, we use Trello for their goals and for measuring stuff. But the stuff that I'm doing, I was using Trello, and then I was using, I even created a course for myself using this online course software. So I get reward points whenever I do something. You know what? This is my favorite so far. Just a whole bunch of colored Post-it notes, color coded, throw them up there. And when I want to look at what's next, I look at that list and then I reorder them for the day. I say, all right, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4 if I get to it. So simple, so satisfying.
Yeah. And I'll tell everyone, simplicity works. It makes it a lot more fun and a lot easier. Talking about doing things that are fun. When things become complex, me personally, I'm known to make things challenging. I like challenges. I'm an ultra runner. I like to do things that are like really hard, and sometimes I have to fail. But doing things that are simple, that are very effective, was a goal. Like David's saying, is like, you can 2x time off, you can 2x your income, you can 2x your fun, whatever it is, by being focused and putting your energy on something that's simple, that works now, not something that may work in a year or 2, but something that works now. So, David, let's talk about, there's another concept that you have, talking about climbing the right mountain.
Yep.
Can you talk to our audience? And we're not going rock climbing. I mean, if anybody wants to do that, let me know. We can go and do that, but this is a different type of concept here.
Yeah. So if you want, look, if we start talking about, I want to be more productive, you got to know where you're going. Right now, I've for years and years and years, I've been the kind of guy who doesn't really set goals. I might write them down over New Year's. I'll write down what I want, but I don't look at them again. And I've been successful in spite of that. So I don't recommend it as a way to go. But I've just been able to naturally navigate, and I end up getting to a good place. But I think it's very satisfying, and particularly if you want to be twice as productive, know what success looks like. Now, and that's what I mean by climb the right mountain, because you don't want to get to the top of the mountain and then realize I've just invested 3 years of my life in something that doesn't actually make my life better.
Yeah. I want to be on that mountain over there instead. Like that's what. Yeah.
That's right. So I have a simple worksheet in my program that it's got 4 quadrants. Top left quadrant, you write down your 12-month goals. This is what I want. And here's a tip, particularly as we go into the new year, start with how you want to feel. So write down how you want to feel a year from now. Then you'll ask yourself, what do I need to be doing? What kind of activities? It's probably not so much what you have in your life, but probably more activities, but maybe it's something you have. And then that'll let you know what you need to be doing to get there. And you'll write in the top left quadrant, So if you imagine a piece of paper with 4 squares, here are my 12-month goals. Then we need to layer those goals, because it's one thing, all right, now I know the mountain I'm climbing, but it's too easy to just get lost in the day-to-day. So my answer is to layer the goals. 8 weeks from now, what do you need to have achieved to be fully on track to your 12-month goals? This one's the easy bit, because you already know the 12-month goals. All right, I need to be on this many podcasts. I need to have hired someone for this, and I want to be doing 50 push-ups a day by 8 weeks from now. And then again, we layer it. So that'd be the top right quadrant. Then the bottom right is your 7-day goals. What will I take? And that's where my board comes into play. What will I do in the next 7 days? You put your Postit Notes up or whatever, but you write those down in that quadrant. And then last layer, what will I do tomorrow? Or if you prefer, you can do this when you wake up. But I think that's a bit late. Sometimes you wake up, you might get a bit lost. I find it's nice the day before to just choose, if I only do 2 things tomorrow, if that's all I get to do, what would I do? This is where we prioritize. And then that becomes tomorrow's goal or today's. And then, so you got that sheet of paper, and that might go up on the wall where you can see it all the time. And then every week, just put a Post-it note over your 7-day goals. Just replace it, because every week it's going to change. So every week, Post-it note, and every day you can put a Post-it note over those daily goals. So that's a simple way of keeping yourself, you've chosen your mountain that matters to you, and then you're keeping yourself on track. I'm going to mix my metaphors now. It's, or maybe I can still do it with the mountain. It's one thing to just climb for the joy of it, and that's fine. I've done that a lot of my life. But if you really want to be productive, choose your mountain wisely, plan the path, and keep on taking navigational checks to make sure that you're on track. Otherwise, it could take you 5 years to climb a mountain instead of 1, and you might end up on the wrong mountain.
Yeah, so you're saying it's okay to pivot sometimes if you need to pivot while you're climbing this mountain.
I wasn't saying that. I was saying this is how to climb the mountain you've chosen.
Got it.
But I think that's also a valid point. Like for me, I'm like, all right, I'm going to brand tough conversations, and I'm doing this, and I'm launching the podcast and whatever. And then at some point I'm like, hey, it's time to pivot. And so I did. I've pivoted multiple times in my life. And in the last 3.5 years, I've pivoted 2 big pivots.
Okay. So now, so when we have the pivot, then we have the navigational course. That's what that 1 year goal setting sheet is for. Like we got the mountain, we figured out what we truly want. Now we need to plot our course to make sure we are on course and can actually get to this summit, not, end up on a ridge over there and not know where in the world we're going once we get to that ridge.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And so that's where the layering comes in of the goals. And I recommend to everybody that you have a date with yourself for 20 minutes once a week, 4 o'clock on a Friday, or 9 o'clock on a Monday, or you could do Sunday afternoon, 20 minutes where you look back and you celebrate what you did achieve. I can look at my win list up on the board and go, all right, I did that. And then you look forward at your 8-week goals, say, all right, what do I need to do over the next 7 days to really move that forward? Such a simple thing to do. Yeah. I call it a CEO date with yourself.
Okay.
To do that planning once a week. That's all. If you don't, there's nothing wrong. It's just more likely you'll be lost, and you'll be working on a bunch of stuff, and you'll be very busy, and that's fine for entertainment. But if you really want to get to those goals as quickly as possible, I'm suggesting this.
Yeah. So I think with that CEO day, I want to add one thing, because I think this is powerful. You mentioned wins, like checking off those wins or celebrate the wins. On a podcast early in my early podcasting days years ago, I interviewed a gentleman, and he spoke about something called AMWAPs, AMWAPS. And it sounds like a big word, but in the world of CrossFit, there's something called an AMRAP, which is as many repetitions as possible. An AMWAP, WAP, is as many wins as possible. So it's not about only focusing, I didn't win today. I didn't win because I didn't hit the top of the mountain today. I didn't win because I didn't like hold the flag at the top of the mountain and say I got there, put the flag in the moon or whatever it is. You have all these little steps on those CEO days are like, ching, win. And it's easy when we talked about earlier, creating happiness. When you start to have wins, especially if you have big goals, if you're not hitting those goals, obviously over a course of a year, or you're not like you're focused on that year, the little wins are very powerful, and it helps you become more happy and realize that you are going somewhere. That you don't feel like you're getting, like I'm only did these 3 little things this week or 10 little things this week. No, it's I think
So
that's
true.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. If we keep looking forward at the mountain, that's all we see. There's always mountain to climb, mountain to climb, mountain to climb, and we can get goal fatigue.
Yeah.
And what we need to do with this CEO date once a week is turn around and enjoy the view. See how far we've come. And I believe, from what I can tell, the ego is designed to look for what's wrong and what's missing. And I think that's fine. That puts food on the table and keeps us being driven. But again, we can get to fatigue and just feel like a failure so often because we're constantly looking at what's missing. Yesterday morning, I woke up, I felt very tired. The day seemed overwhelming. I didn't want, someone was coming to my house to do some cleaning and make smoothies and whatever, my personal assistant. I'm like, oh my God, someone's going to be around here for 4 hours. And I was just really feeling down on myself. And then after an hour, I realized, wait a minute. In the last hour, I've reached out to 2 friends and shared something that was difficult and personal. Like I'd been disappointed by a couple of things and I shared it. Well, one of my staff members had done something that I didn't like. And I reached out and in a very nice way, I shared that.
A tough conversation.
Yep. 3 tough conversations I had. And then I realized, wait a minute. And then I reached out to 4 people about business on Facebook. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm being so down on myself. I just did some really good stuff for my life and for my business. And then I started just changing my thinking. I'm like, I've got someone coming here to make me smoothies for the week and clean my house. This is support for me. The 3 phone calls coming up today are all about how we can support each other. So I just started shifting my thinking. So I fully agree with you. We need to really celebrate those wins. And they may be smaller than we expected or than we wanted, but there are wins all over the place. Did you brush your teeth? All right, you took care of yourself. Did you eat something healthy? Did you walk outside and get some fresh air? There's so many wins we can take if we're just willing to look.
Hey everyone, I urge you to check out the 3065 Lifestyle Shift program. If you have not done that yet, please do. Please do. It's a healthy lifestyle-based program for those of you that are looking to get a little healthier, a little fittier, and a little skinnier maybe. But you also want to be connected to a community. But the real reason we're doing this is people need to be engaged with their health and their lifestyle to get better. And those that are in there are doing so well. I urge you to check out the philosophy like nothing else you've ever seen. Just check out the link in the show notes. It's really cool. It's free to see. But if you do decide to join us and have some fun with your 3065 lifestyle, you'll love it. And it's only $5 a month after that once you sign up. So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Here we go. Now back to the show. Yeah, it's a powerful concept, and I've been using that for years now because, I mean, me personally, I'm just going to get away from the business for a second, but as a runner, trying to get to that 100-mile mark of this ultra marathon, it was like the biggest mental, physical block I've ever done or had to deal with because I failed at it one time really badly, getting injured. And, just getting back on the horse and going, look, I ran 20 miles this week. I ran 50 miles a week. I ran 70 miles a week, and having to be able to look back and go, okay, I'm on target, but it's scary and hard. But the win is always possible if you take it in incremental levels. And, for me, ultimately, I was able to reach that goal and did better than I thought when I hit the top of the mountain at my 100-mile. I'm like, holy cow. All of those little steps I took over the course of the past 6 months or whatever it was paid off huge. I didn't come in tail last of the event, which I was going to be very happy to do. But the little things I did every single day, like brushing my teeth, it was meditating. It was going for a walk with my dog. It was just doing the simple little things that I can look back and go, great, I'm starting my day off happy. Now I can go charge. So it was so huge for me. And I mean, we can do this in any area of our life, based on what you're saying. Like, it's double down and focus really pays off.
Agreed.
So what are other, I love the concept of finding the right mountain. I've never looked at it that way. And 2xing time and 2xing income. These are all like huge concepts that I think people are hopefully grasping, because it doesn't only mean in business. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, I hope it does.
Right.
Or you're working from home, I hope it does. But this can go in any area of your life. I mean, you look at your physical body, your spiritual body, if you will, your financial body, for relationships, all these areas, this can all apply, like everything we've spoken about.
And your job. I've got a session coming up today with a vice president at a big company, and she didn't even realize for a while that she wasn't really happy with her job. And when we started getting into it, I had to do an audit of all her tasks. And she realized that some of it, she started to realize as she did the audit, the things that she really enjoyed, which were mainly the strategic thinking and the strategic planning, but she didn't like the day-to-day implementing and the doing of it. So her job now is to get that stuff off her desk, go to her boss, let her boss know what she's best at, what she really thrives at, and come up with a plan for hiring or training existing people and getting them to do stuff. And then we also found some other areas, like she wants to increase the strategic stuff. So she'd like some more responsibility in some other areas. Is that possible? She's now starting to have that conversation. So you can do this audit for your business. You could do this audit for your job, and you could do this audit for your life. You could look at what kinds of things. Oh, okay. So that fits in with the personal assistant. I realized I'm committed to making smoothies either every day or for the week, and freezing green smoothies. And I don't like making them. I just don't like doing it. I don't want to do it. And I don't get around to cleaning. I'm a single guy, and I just don't get it, but I do like it when it's cleaned. I also don't like doing Amazon returns. I don't like going back I don't like going to the post office, and I don't like going and dropping stuff and getting stamps and whatever. So now I've hired somebody for $20 an hour, comes to my house, makes all the smoothies. And I said, hey, since you're here, why don't you throw some stuff in a slow cooker and cook up meals for the week for me as well? She's like, great. So now she finds a recipe. She does the ordering on Amazon. The stuff gets delivered. She arrives in time to put it all in the fridge. She does the cooking. She does some cleaning. Might take my dog outside, brushes my dog's teeth, because that's another thing I don't ever want to do. All these things in my life that I think are good for me, but I don't want to do, she takes care of that. And I think it cost me like $125 a week to have that happen. It's so you could do this in your life. You might not want to do your own laundry.
Yeah.
It's really up to you. Do a 4D audit on
there's
your
the delegate
life.
right there, right?
Yep.
That's great.
Maybe there's stuff you're doing that your kids could be doing, or that your partner, your husband, or your wife could be doing. Or again, you could outsource, and for a low hourly rate, you could get someone to do it. Now, a lot of people, I'm guessing, I could be wrong. I just did now I'm doing Trump's hand movements. I don't know why. But I'm guessing that a lot of people listening to this podcast are earning more than, say, $20 an hour. I could be wrong. But if you are in that category, if you're earning more than $20 an hour in your job or your business, or you think that you will ultimately earn that in your business, then it makes sense for you to get someone for say $12, $15 or $20 an hour to do the stuff that you don't want to do.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I have for me personally, and I've done this, and it took me a long time to actually let go. Like letting go of that, the things I didn't want to do was hard because I like to do things. That delegation was like, I can do it better. I can do it better. Like that was my mentality for so long. And then I started to delegate some of the virtual digital things I do to a virtual assistant, someone that I've never met in person. I've only met online. Save me hours and hours and hours of work. And I pay them, I think they're working like for 4 or 5 hours a week. And that's it. And how many clients I have, I don't know, but they're good at what they do. It saves me so much. And I didn't realize, I'm like, holy cow, that just made me so much happier that I don't have to think about doing this.
Yep.
At all.
You got, like, as you're speaking, I'm thinking, like, what else do I wish I was doing more? And I wish I was walking my dog more. I feel like I'm a bit lazy about the walking. And so now I'm thinking, hey, I could just, have my assistant stay for another half an hour, do a good walk. That's at least once a week. I know my dog's going to get a good walk. And maybe I'll hire someone locally who could come a couple of other days a week.
Yeah.
Pick up my dog, take him to a puppy play date. I want my dog to have more. I'm not doing it. So that's a little out of integrity for me. This can be handled through leverage.
Yeah. And I think for everybody listening, there is so much opportunity in life once you truly know what you want. Opportunity will always present itself. Like, for instance, you're listening to this podcast. Would you have met or heard David speak and learn about these concepts if you weren't open to opportunity? I think that's very powerful, like very, very powerful. If you know what you truly want, you will spend the time, energy, money to make things work. And I think that's very, very powerful. If you're going about your day, and I don't think people on that are listening to my show are just kind of lollygagging, if you will, through life. I think they're focused, but maybe they're not focusing on the right mountaintop. They just might have that shiny object syndrome and kind of like, I'll look this way and I look this way and I have so much stuff going on. I don't know what to do to help me get anywhere. I'm just kind of stuck in a rut. So opportunity is powerful. And I think David is bringing a lot of light to the top of your mountain, possibly going, all right, maybe I got to focus on there. So David, what, for people to want to dive more into these concepts and maybe even interact with you on a more personal basis, what are the best ways for them to get a taste and then maybe get a best way to maybe hire you?
Sure. Well, I have a gift basket of goodies for your listeners. So I've put together 3 tools. The first tool is a cheat sheet on the fastest way to double productivity and revenue. Okay. So that's one. The second one is a 6-minute video that will take you through the steps on how to implement.
Implementation's huge.
Yep. And then the third is if you have a business and you satisfy 2 or 3 criteria, which being that you seriously want to double revenue over the next 12 months, then I'll do a 15-minute double your revenue audit with you. So I'll get on the phone because your plan to double revenue is not going to be the same as the next person's plan. Of course. And in 15 minutes, I can usually identify the low-hanging fruit of what you need to work on first. And you can get all 3, and I don't charge for that. It's how I find the right people to work with. Of course. And there's no obligation to continue, and also no guarantee that you'll be accepted as a client. I just want to be clear about that. So you can get all 3 of these goodies at myfocusgift.com. And that'll also take you to my website. You can play around and you can check out the stuff, but you'll get some good value, whether or not you want to work together. And this is also a good path if you do want to see if we'd be a fit for working together.
Yeah, David, I want to thank you so much for that, because you've been very generous even after our last conversation. And please take advantage of this. If this resonates with you, like even at the 10% level, just look a little more, dive a little deeper, get the freebies, and actually go through them. And if it's something that resonates, then you can take those next steps. There's no right. And I send a couple of videos once a week. So once you get the freebies, I send a couple of videos once a week. If you love them,
keep consuming them. If you don't, you can unsubscribe with one click of the button.
Yeah. So, and this is what I love about David is he is very transparent, right? Like he's not, he wants to help people, obviously. Otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And I love that he says he wants to help people have the most awesome life. Like that so resonates with me. And I hope it resonates with everybody, because if we're not having fun, if we're not making money, and the concept of money can be hard for a lot of people because they may have a different perception. They may think money's evil or all of these weird things. That's another story. But when you are consuming, you have more time, you have more money, you can give to more things. You can spend more time with your loved ones. You can participate in your own life more. So growth is
more money is better than less money.
Yes, it is.
So
it truly is.
So I start there with my clients. I start with more money, and then let's have you have more time. And then what would a more extraordinary human look like to you? What is that for you? And we start looking at relationships and integrity and how you're showing up in the world.
Then we dive deep, right? Then you go deep.
That's the stuff that really, really juices me. But I know money pays the bills for everybody. So we start there. Let's have you earn more, time off, and then we get to some of the really, really good stuff.
I think that's so awesome. So Dave, I want to thank you. This is great. It's always a good way to have a conversation is to talk about the things that are important in life. And, hence this is Lifestyle Locker. I love being able to put you in all of the different lockers that we have, if you will, the financial portion of it, the mind portion of it, and the body portion of it. I mean, you just fit in all of it, which is great. And, everybody dive in, grab his content. I'm going to actually go and grab it once we're off this call, so I can get involved even more as well. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. And I look forward. I'm sure there'll be another conversation at some point.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Right. Good to see you again.
Yes. Hey, everyone. I hope you really did enjoy that episode with David Wood Part 2. All right. Here's your action steps. Scroll down. Check out the show notes. If you have not done that already, go ahead and get his freebies. Go ahead and get his gift basket, as he calls it. I love that. So get the things that can help you. He's out here to help our audience. He's out here to help the world, the people that resonate with him. Because I'll tell you what, like me, this show's not for everybody. This show is made for the people that want to be part of having a healthier lifestyle, that resonate with the people that we bring on and resonate with my philosophy, Lifestyle Locker's philosophy, right, of unleashing your human potential. And I tell you what, if you really enjoy the show and you enjoy him, give him a shout out and send him a message as well on social. You have all the links that'll be in the show notes. But also make sure you're checking out the 3065 Lifestyle Shift program, which this show is sponsored by. If you didn't hear that, that little commercial right in the middle there, go ahead and check it out. Scroll down the show notes. If you are having health challenges in life, like I want to be a little fitter, I want to be a little sexier, I want to be a little, summer may be coming up for you depending on when you're listening to this. So, get your body moving again, get connected with those that are healthy and want to be healthy just like you, and we support each other on that ride. So check that out in the show notes, the 3065 Lifestyle Shift program that you can do 365 days a year. All right, y'all, Dr. Josh Hant here. We'll talk soon. Peace out.